Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 237 is brought to you by Heather and Alien, some of our amazing Patreon supporters. This episode is also possible thanks to our producers, Lindsay, For the Whim, Tab, Lazy Villager Megan Leslie, and Young Ol Loose. This week, Nina and I are going to reveal the best item in Animal Crossing New Horizons. We will crown the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place winners. After that, we'll discuss the reasons we've stopped playing Animal Crossing games. So to begin, hello Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've had a nice long weekend. I went to a Braves game. I've been playing lots of Pirates. I've been in full summer mode.
I've seen you on Pirates every day, every hour of every day.
Yep. It's been a lot.
Yeah, that's all I've seen you doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I downloaded it again, but I have not found a chance to come and play with you.
Look, Tab reminded me the other day that many birthdays ago, you promised
One birthday
me.
ago.
Was it that long? Time doesn't
I
exist.
think it was just whatever your past birthday was, that's when it happened.
You promised me how many play sessions of Pirates? Was it 3?
Yeah.
3.
Whenever you want.
Okay.
So, yeah. Send me your tickets.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we hop into revealing the results of the bracket, we don't want you all waiting too long for this one. We've got some icebreakers for both of you. Nina, I see yours, and I'm so interested in what you're gonna ask me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't understand because I see these words "child's play,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, scary movies, right?
No.
Like that's what it is.
No.
That's a scary movie with Chucky.
Chuy always writes his in white, so I can't see his answers, and I always code mine so that he doesn't know what I'm gonna ask him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what was your favorite group game as a child? Like tug of war, capture the flag, sharks and minnows. I don't know. That kind of stuff.
I don't know if there was ever a name for this. Immediately 3 games come to mind.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a playground fiend. If there was a playground, I was on it.
Okay.
If there was recess, I was the first one there. I am all about the schoolyard games. I love them.
Yeah.
This one in particular, I don't know if there was a name for it, if this happened at other schools, it happened at mine, but basically kids would stand in these long rows. There'd be 2 rows basically facing each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all you would do was get a kickball and kick it to the other side. And that was it.
To the other side of what?
Do that. To the other side where the other people were.
Oh.
I'd be in my row facing another row of people, and we'd just kick a ball, and it would go and land in their little group, and somebody would catch it and then kick it. And you were just basically trying to catch the ball and kick it. That was it.
But it was not dodgeball.
No, it was that's the thing. It's literally just kicking a ball back and forth, but it was lots of people doing it at once.
Could you get out? Were there rules?
No, nothing. Not that I could remember. No rules whatsoever. Literally just back and forth, kicking the ball. And it was great.
Wow.
Loved it.
Wow.
The other 2 games I'd say are much more structured. I feel like this one has different names depending on where you are. We just called it Foursquare.
Oh, yeah.
And it was basically, there's a big square with 4 squares in it.
Yeah.
And you would play this little game where you hit the ball and you try to hit it on somebody's square.
Yeah.
But make sure they couldn't get it.
With a kickball. Yeah.
Yeah, with a kickball. And then there was the first place square, and you could stay there as long as you could. and he just tried to stay in the game as long as possible. Otherwise, you'd get out and you'd go back in line and try again, right?
Yes, yeah. And there was like a king spot and a queen spot and a jack or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Foursquare, loved it.
Yeah, I loved
Everything
Foursquare
about it.
too.
The last one was, regular old kickball. Like
Kickball.
baseball, but with a kickball.
Yeah.
The reason I loved this was because for some reason I don't know what pegged me as the kid to underestimate in things sports, but like I'm pretty athletic. I'm pretty like surprisingly enough, I'm pretty athletic. I'm pretty sporty, and I'm pretty into uh games that require physical movement and energy.
Were
right?
you gangly? Why? Why were you underestimated?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. I'm like a skinny kid, real long limbs, probably look like I'm a fresh deer right out the womb, just learning to walk, right? But like, I'm very coordinated and agile, and so I don't know. Whatever it was about me, I was underestimated in these things. But we were playing a game of kickball. I think it was summer school specifically because there was a lot bigger mix of like ages at this point. I think I was at like a school that went to like fourth grade or something. That school definitely went to third grade, and I must have been in first or second. But the third graders, they do that thing where they're like, "Oh, easy out, everyone, scoot in," and that's what I get, whenever these things happen. And then I was like, I can kick a ball. This isn't hard. And so they roll the ball at me. I kick it. And I'm like, cool, good job, me, made it to first base. And then they're all yelling, run, run. And then I looked, and apparently I kicked it. Like, it was out of there. Completely nobody around to catch it. And so I kicked a home run, made it all the way around all the bases, hit a home run.
My gosh.
It was solid. On a related note, there was a game we kind of made up it was exactly like kickball, but we used a hacky sack instead.
What? How far can you kick a hacky sack?
Apparently, I was like the Babe Ruth of this game. I was the first person to ever kick it out of the park. Basically, it was just like up on the second level of the blacktop or whatever. But
yeah.
I kicked they were like, all right, home run, you did it, good job. But yeah, I'm very good at these things, but somehow people are just like, no, he can't do that.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so many little games. Oh man, when we got into like this is gonna turn into just me playing games on the playground.
You wanting to be back in elementary school.
Did you ever get those little like miniature RC cars?
Yeah, maybe once or twice.
They were a huge thing at my school at some point.
Okay.
Miniature RC cars. Whenever the ball like pit thing was empty, like everybody had gotten all the basketballs, soccer balls, all the different balls in there. The bottom was like this flat piece of wood,
right?
And we would all just turn that into a little battle arena. So we would take our little miniature RC cars,
like really small,
and we would fight them on there. Yeah, they were tiny.
Okay, I never had one of those.
We would fight them on that, and the goal was just to push each other's cars off of that little platform, and that was hype. That was so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are the games in my life.
I did not play a lot of those games.
A lot of it was just like made up on the schoolyard, and then others were like, these are established games. I feel like lots.
Did you guys ever play pickle, where all you're doing is just throwing a tennis ball as hard at your friends as you possibly can?
No, we didn't play that. I forget what we called it. I did a lot of hacky sacking throughout school. I was very good at that. My record was 794 consecutive kicks.
Jeez, how do you even have time for that many kicks in recess?
I want to say I did that after school. There was extracurricular, but it took probably around like 40 minutes to get that many kicks.
Wow.
So yeah, I did that quite a bit. But there was one game where whoever messed up, they just if they messed up, it was kind of like horse, in basketball you score. But if you ran out of letters at this point, you just have to stand at the wall and everybody got it to throw the hacky sack at you as hard as they could.
Oh my gosh, kids are brutal.
You only got one throw though, so you could miss.
Yeah.
And that was your throw. But
Man. My favorite from swim team was Sharks and Minnows. I was unbeaten. It was so much
Unbeatable.
fun. Memories. Almost drowning children. It's so much fun.
Love it. It's got to have a little bit of danger in it.
Yes, it does.
Fun, right?
That's how kids have fun.
All right, Nina, this isn't playground talk podcast the whole time. We got to get going. I'm going to ask you your question. Mm-hmm. You're starting your own podcast. What's it about?
No. I wouldn't start my own podcast. I don't know.
You're getting some really solid suggestions in the chat here.
Animal facts. Yeah. Art facts, just pigeon facts. The narrator, that's a joke from Sea of Thieves. Maybe it would be a Sea of Thieves one. That would be fun.
Yeah. Is there a Sea of Thieves podcast?
They have an official one that's really interesting. But I should listen to a fan-made one. I need to look one up.
Yeah. Because I feel like what works about Animal Crossing more than a lot of series, and I'd say even Pokemon too, is just like it's the game that keeps on going, So I feel like when you pick a game, it should optimally be one that you will have plenty to draw from.
Well, and Sea of Thieves is like that too. It's like been update city lately.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Sea of Thieves of a lot of games, like that's one that would be easy to keep up with.
Sea of Thieves with ocean facts.
Yes. See, you already just made the best Sea of Thieves podcast right there.
There you go. Let's get it started.
I would listen to you and Michi talk Sea of Thieves all day. Every day.
Yes. Let's do it, Michi.
That would probably get me playing regularly.
You need to play regularly anyways.
I know I need to, but I just haven't yet.
Well, there we go.
All right. Well, everybody, we've kept you waiting long enough. It's time to reveal the best item bracket results. This is the final time we will be we'll be visiting this, I guess. I shouldn't say revisiting.
I'm sure we'll do another bracket though.
Yeah, we'll do another bracket, but this is the best item. Like, it's been determined. There's no contesting it at this point. Like, this is it. We have figured out what the best item is. So let's get into it. Just as a reminder, the finals was down to gyroids and the plain party lights arch. Last week we had two wonderful guests, Quantrell and Squee, were fighting it out for both of those items. Squee went hard for gyroids, brought some really great prepared statements, Quantrell, off the cuff, but very, very brutal rebuttals throughout. Really strong fight between the two of them. Really great to see the passion come out for both the items.
They did such a good job.
And let me tell you, I don't know if it was the podcast and what you both had to say, but this was by far the closest it has ever been in this whole bracket. It was back and forth constantly. I did not know who was going to win until I closed it. Like, it was
horrific.
It was shocking how close it was at times. I'd seen it swap back and forth. I'd seen it tied. I saw I saw a moment where the results were within 0.6% of each other.
It's unbelievable. I don't know how we got here.
Every time it went back and forth,
Yeah.
one was up by literally one vote.
How many votes did we end up getting?
In the end, we got, I think, 236 responses.
Ooh.
Which is a beautiful number considering last episode was episode 236.
Oh.
There's a match up there. This is also the most amount of votes we've gotten thus far for any of the bracket. So
wow.
Yeah, people turned out for this. It was a passionate battle between the two. So, to start though, before we reveal that, there was a second vote in there. One we couldn't forget. That was the third place vote. So this will determine both third and fourth place. We had leaf piles versus street lamp.
Ooh.
So the losers of the semifinal round, right?
Yeah.
But there's a bit of consolation here. One of them gets to be third, and the other, I guess it's fourth, right? Yeah. Which is fine. This one not as close as the final round, which is honestly fitting. I'm really glad the final round was as close as it was. But leaf piles versus street lamps, the percentage between the two, one got 61% of the votes, and the other got 39% of the votes.
Who did you vote for?
These two are my babies.
I know.
Right here. I love leaf piles. I love street lamp. In the end, I decided to give it to street lamp.
Oh, excellent. I voted for street lamp also. Even though I drew a picture of you hiding in a leaf pile and me.
I love it. I love
swinging
that
a
picture.
Street lamp at you.
love it. Perfect picture. But yeah, street lamp. I think I just really thought street lamp was going to be at the end of this. I thought it was going to make it to the finals. I thought it was going to take the whole thing. I think over the course of this whole process, I really became Team Street Lamp to the end.
Nice.
So I voted third for them. And I guess you did too.
Yes.
All right. So with 39% of the vote, the fourth place goes to leaf piles.
No.
Meaning third place goes to street lamp.
Oh,
this is good.
Oh wait, I was backwards.
You heard it wrong.
Okay.
You heard it backwards. Yes, fourth place goes to leaf piles. Third place goes to street
Yay!
lamp.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So you're good. You're good, Nina.
All right, good.
You got what you hoped for.
Sorry, I was just so ready to be disappointed.
Yeah. I know. This one I'll announce a lot more clearly. I'm going to announce who won first place.
We're about to have a Miss Universe problem.
Yeah, don't want one of those, Steve Harvey. Don't want one of those. Okay. So yeah, Street Lamp, I'm happy with it getting third. Solid. Okay. For the first place vote, let me tell you what this percentage ended at. So we've got the plain Party Lights Arch versus Gyroids. Incredibly close. 52.1% to 47.9%.
That's still pretty close.
Very close.
I mean, I know it was closer, but...
It was closer at points. I saw it when it was 50.3% to 49.7%.
Oh my gosh.
So it was closer at points. It swapped places every time. First, Gyroids were in the lead, and then Plain Party Lights took the lead. It just went back and forth continuously.
Mm-hmm.
But we've ended up with a pretty clear winner. I will say, though, out of all these votes that we got, 236, the winner only really won by 10 votes.
10 votes?
10 votes.
Ooh.
When I tweeted it at one point, and I just said, I cannot stress enough how close this is and that every vote makes a difference here. I meant it. Like, literally, they were one vote ahead, away from each other.
I can't feel my fingers right now.
That's great. That's great. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's tell you who won here. Mm-hmm. With 52.1% of the votes, the winner of the best item bracket and the first annual May Mayhem, which might be more than annual, we might do another one, is gyroids.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so glad.
Gyroids have taken the win. Just barely.
Wow.
Barely coming out on top.
Wow.
It was a fight to the bitter end. There was a long time when Plain Party Lights Arch was ahead by like 7 votes or so.
I'm pretty sure that's when I said I was going to quit the podcast.
And somehow Gyroids managed to make a little bit of a comeback before the end and got there. But Gyroids have taken the win.
Wow. I have no words. That's incredible. 10 votes.
Mm-hmm.
All from Gyroids.
Those 10 votes for Gyroids really took it. But by far, one of the most intense battles I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
We had so many people fill out this bracket to begin with, and there were so many answers. Like, I cannot believe how many items even just had 1 point, like 1 vote for them. And to make it all this way down to the Plain Party Lights Arch and Gyroids, which had to all be grouped together. Whew, that was a journey.
Yeah. They fought hard. They got all the votes they needed. They truly did a great job.
They
great
worked
item
together.
Yep. Wonderful item. Wonderful little friends that you can make and put around your place. They're just they're the companion we need right now.
Look, and Lloyd is even in Smash Brothers. So this makes sense to me.
Yeah. Lloyd gets there's a lot of gyroid representation that goes beyond Animal Crossing. So
yeah,
I'm proud of them.
Yeah,
I'm proud of them. I'm so happy they won. They did great, and I guess next time we're gonna have to do the same thing for KK Slider songs.
Look, I'm thinking either KK Slider songs or just villagers. I think that would be incredible too. Best villager.
Best villager of all time.
Of all time.
I mean it. If you all vote Judy, this is gonna be a terrible bracket.
I think we need to save KK Slider songs for when Sergio returns.
Yeah, definitely. When Sergio's here, KK Slider songs have to happen.
And you might think that someone like Judy would win, but we all thought the Froggy Chair was going to win, and it was out on the first round. So
yeah, Froggy Chair did not stand a chance. Kids Tent.
You never know.
That's the true winner.
You never know. Wow, I need a nap. That was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, Nina, I guess you can reveal now. You're about to quit the podcast, right?
Oh, I was throwing a fit like a child all week long. It was not a good moment for me. I'm very glad Gyroids won. Oh my gosh. I even changed my little icon in Discord to the little Sproingoid who look like Finn and Jake from Adventure Time. I just love them. I love gyroids. I'm sorry. I know that I need to be an unbiased podcaster, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think that was the most difficult part. Like we had to play it right, you know.
Yep.
We had to talk about these as fairly as possible. And then, you know, we gave our reasons after why we voted and everything. I think it went well. It was a fun time.
And we didn't ever cheat.
Yeah, I know. Coulda, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the next time, though, you came up with a good way for us to kind of go about doing the next bracket where we take a little bit of a longer time. That way people know what the results are. And then we can have people in, like, the next week to argue for them. And then the vote opens up again.
Yeah. So it'll be twice as long. It'd be like every other week where it's like a bracket week and then a discussion week and then a bracket week and a discussion week. I think that way we could get some more participation going. It'd be really nice.
Yeah, because that's one thing I wanted to happen a little bit more, have more people on. We did have a lot of people on, which was great. Meg, Nebula, Squee, Quantrell, they all got to be on the show a little bit, but I think with this we'll be able to give the patrons a little bit more time to, you know, plan for it and join us.
Yeah. And I think if we do villagers, it's going to be a little more personal. Feelings might get hurt, but people can tell stories about why their favorite villagers are their favorite villagers. That could be super fun.
Yeah, we all died when Squee was talking about the watering can club, the elephant watering can club. So beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we'll get a really great turnout for villagers. Everybody's got a favorite, you know? All right. Well, congratulations to Gyroids, the winner of May Mayhem 2022. I guess maybe we'll revisit items again one day, but who knows? I mean, it could just end up the same top 16, same winner. Who knows? You know,
that would be interesting. I wonder if people would not have voted for such like niche items, knowing like how split up their votes ended up becoming. I don't know. It was just interesting because of how deep the pool was.
Yeah. And I wonder if people kind of like forgot some other items that they wanted to put on there too. So yeah, we don't know how it'll turn out again, but maybe it'd be worth revisiting at some point.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. This sounded funny when I said it in the announcements, but we are going to talk about why we stopped playing Animal Crossing. But it's not so much going to be New Horizons focus. It's more to just explore like some of the older games, why we stopped playing those, maybe a little bit of New Horizons as well. But yeah, it's really just to take a look at when are we done? When are we satisfied with the experience we got? When are we ready to move on to other games? And most importantly, like, when are we just like, all right, give me the new Animal Crossing game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as much fun as we have with each title, there's always this huge excitement we feel for whatever the next one is, you know? I'm sure a lot of us are going to start feeling that way very soon, with New Horizons being, you know, done, probably no updates from here on out, and then after a couple years we'll be like, all right, Nintendo, like, new systems out, where's Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I wonder how long we're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I don't know. But I will say, based on how dang popular Animal Crossing got with this iteration and just how many copies it sold, I think Nintendo is gonna put a little bit of priority on it and start making them a little bit faster, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let's head on this journey. I guess we can start with the first game.
Okay.
Population Growing. This one was, at least the iteration that I played was the GameCube game, the English North American version of the game. I think that came out in 2002, and I don't think I played it until maybe like 2004, I would say.
Okay.
Like a couple years after the fact. But I knew about the game. I knew nothing about it while also knowing about it, because I think that's how Animal Crossing kind of is as a series when you don't play, you know? So all I knew about the game was that I wanted to play, and it sounded amazing. Nina, what was your experience with this one?
I did not play this as a child, and went out and bought a GameCube and a controller and a memory card and Population Growing as an adult. Gosh, maybe like around 2016 or 18 or something like that. Like recently. Because I love Animal Crossing, I never got to play the first one. So I plugged it all up. I was real excited. It all came in and played it for about 30 minutes before I had to go lay down and turn out the lights, because the Acre system gave me like a horrible visual migraine. I could not keep playing. I was so bummed. I tried it again the next day, and the same thing happened, and I just am, I wish I could play this game. I really hope that it gets a port or something soon so that I can try again. But I cannot play Population Growing, and it's like my least favorite thing. I want to be able to play it. Ugh. So that's why I stopped playing it, because I couldn't see.
Yeah, and I think like the big challenge with even a port is I don't really see them changing the way the camera worked.
No, I'm just hoping maybe they smooth it or fix, maybe like up the graphics. I don't know, anything. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's it. That's your whole experience. That's why you stopped playing.
Yeah, I played a whole hour of Population Growing.
Yeah, for me, I guess that play session lasted a little bit longer, but a lot of people know my history with a certain villager who moved away one day. But I was having a great time with Population Growing. I woke up at that point. I was in high school, and I was up at like 5 a.m. every day to get ready for school, and then I was like, I'm just going to check into Animal Crossing real quick, say good morning to whoever's up, because the store's not open yet. And I've never been like one of those time travel people. But it was a big part of my day. I'd wake up, I'd play a bit, I'd get home from school, I'd play a bit. It was a great time. And then the friend that I had borrowed it from, she gave me her memory card and said, oh yeah, if you put this in the other slot, like you can visit me on the train. And I was like, oh, I want to try that. So I did it. The one downside to visiting other people's towns in that is that one of your villagers will move away. You have no control over who it is. You can't stop it from happening. It's always something tied to traveling to somebody else's town in that game. So you go to a place, they move away. So I went, and of course, of all the villagers I could have lost, it was my best friend, Poncho. And after that, I was devastated. My best friend was gone. The only way I could visit him was if I went to visit him on that friend's town, because they moved to that town. And then when I did that, another one of my villagers left, and it just became like, how do I get my villagers back?
Yeah.
You know, and that just like killed my momentum, I'd say, with the game. I was like, it just doesn't feel like my home anymore now that all my villagers have left me in my attempt to get Poncho back, you know?
Yeah.
So it is sad overall. Just a real sad ending to it. And then I didn't feel like logging in quite like I did before. And then I eventually like deleted that town, and I've always kind of still, even though that town didn't feel the same and it felt like a little bit messed up since my villagers were all leaving me and everything, I still kind of wish I had that town so I could go back to it and see like, oh yeah, I remember all these things that I used to walk around in. And
Aw.
so I kind of wish I still had it. I definitely wish I still had like Poncho and stuff, but
Yeah.
you live and you learn. But yeah, after that, that game just wasn't the same for me. And because it was like 2004 or so, it actually wouldn't be that long before the Wild World came out. And
Yeah.
I would be playing that too. So it was a little bit of a mix of both. I had lost my motivation to play, / there was a new game, and I was like, oh, I need this fresh start, you know?
Mhm.
hmm
Gosh, is Poncho? He's not. Is he? Is he still your favorite villager?
I think Pearl is my
Yeah.
favorite at this point, but both Pearl and Poncho are currently on my island in New Horizons, so
Mhm.
still love them both.
Man. I mean, it reminds me of the Wild World movie with
hmm
the elephant leaving. What was her name again?
Yeah. It was Margie?
Yes.
Margie?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I
hmm
mean it's just it's an Animal Crossing thing. It's like that old nostalgic feeling.
Yeah. I think everybody should experience it.
Yeah.
as sad as it is, and it ruined the game for me,
Mm.
we all need it.
Oh man.
Yeah. All right. So this brings us to Wild World. Nina, this was the game that started it all for you, right?
Yes, it was. And I loved this game, but there's not a whole lot to it. There's not great holidays, so there was nothing really bringing me back year after year. Um, and I kind of just have every once in a while I have a problem with object permanence. It's probably part of my ADD. But like I just kind of forgot this game existed after a while because I wasn't playing it. And so the less I played it, the less I remembered to play it, and it just slowly fades out of my routine. And I think that's not a bad way to stop playing a game. It's not like I was missing it and not being able to play it. It just I had played it and was okay with being done. And then I think City Folk came out, so I had something new to play with, something shiny and
Mm,
new. So not a sad story or like a tragic story, but just kind of there it went. Goodbye, Wild World.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean that could be just how some games go. Just you slowly start dropping off after a little bit, and then all of a sudden you don't play it anymore. And you
Yeah.
just remember it later, and you're like, oh yeah, I used to play that all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with Wild World, that's when I I want to say I just got like real deep into the I want to play every single day for a year. Like that's when
Mm.
that real time clock aspect of it like really got ingrained in me.
Yeah.
Because even like the first game, yes, I played all the time and stuff, but there were definitely times when I missed it. And a lot of that really stems from like, it wasn't portable. Like, we'd do these long road trips to Mexico, and I'd be gone from the game for like a month.
With
So,
Wild World?
with the first game, Population
Oh, I
Growing.
see. Yeah.
So Wild World changed that, and I was like, oh, I can play every single day because this thing's never leaving my side. I'm
Mhm.
always going to have my DS with me? So that's when I became an avid, like, must play every day type of person for
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Um, And I did. I mean, I did as much as I possibly could in Wild World. Every single activity they put in front of me, I was like, yep, got to do that, got to do it all. And so eventually I'd paid off my house. I had done as much as I could in that sense. I felt very accomplished. And I don't know how long I kept just getting as much money as possible. And that was like it was a chore every single day that it was money day because that was basically when the trees would come back with all the fruit and I'd be like, all right, time to pick all these fruit again. And those days were hard because fruit didn't stack. You only had 15 spaces in your inventory. There wasn't an outdoor box to sell it to. You had to go through the loading screen of walking into the building,
Yep.
of talking to Tom Nook, selling the stuff, walking out, doing that all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just took so much of my day.
Uphill
I
both
want to say it
ways.
was like 3 hours of just doing that. And then I was tired of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I doing this? I've got like all the stuff that I want already. I have the biggest house. And so I felt like at that point I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm done. This is all I needed from
Yeah.
this game. I don't have to keep going,
Yeah, and I think that's when I started looking up a little bit of what you needed to unlock certain things, and I'm pretty sure in order to unlock like the best Nook's Cranny, you had to have someone visit your town, and I was like, well, I don't know anyone who plays this game, so that's not happening. Yeah, so there was just a lot of limitations with Wild World, so I fell off of it. I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just, that's another way for it to go.
Yeah.
And I'd say in this sense, I did feel like I had accomplished all the things I wanted to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
In the first game, that was so much harder to do because I was like, oh man, completing these museum things are going to be so much more difficult because I'm not here this month when this thing's available. Or, there were a lot of challenges I ran into with that one. Nowadays, I could probably go back and like make it work, but yeah, with Wild World in particular, I was like, cool, I got my fill with this and I'm ready for whatever's next.
Nice.
And whatever was next, honestly, didn't take too long to come out. I think this was the shortest gap between Animal Crossing games, only a few years, and real early, I'd say, in the, I guess, not too early in the Wii's lifespan, but 2008, Animal Crossing City Folk was released, and I think a big reason this game came out so quickly was because it is a lot like Wild World. Definitely built up on that foundation, has a couple extra things to it that I personally feel make it a better game overall, but I know that's open to discussion for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. City Folk. So you mentioned with Wild World, did you come back with City Folk?
Yes. I definitely got City Folk. I remember playing it in my tiny dorm room in college. I loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, City Folk was, man, I want to say it was like pretty mid high school for me at that point, and I loved it. Honestly, I was like, sweet, I've got cliffs again. It looks like, and it looks a little bit better, than Wild World did, and it plays definitely better. Unfortunately, my town is a desert now because I've been running around everywhere,
Yeah.
So that part was rough, but I don't know. I think overall there was just like so many little secrets in City Folk that I think City Folk kind of is where the lore of Animal Crossing lives for me.
Ooh.
I think there was a lot of little side stories for City Folk that made the characters feel a lot more alive and real. The villagers worked kind of funky, but the special characters themselves were like, oh, there's so much to them that I didn't realize there was to them, Like even characters like Shrunk and stuff, where it was like, oh, I've got this mentor who also does some shows here at this place, you know? And there's this whole mission trying to get KK Slider's guitar back to him, and you get a bunch of different items back to these
Yeah.
characters. And then there's Rossetti's secret home in the city
And
that you can get
Serena
to.
in the fountain.
Yeah, Serena and the Fountain, the whole like Boondocks storyline where you're donating to this little town.
And Red was hard to get to also.
Yeah, Red, you had to get an invite from your villagers so you can, get the special letter, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can come in. You're
Mm-hmm.
trusted now. You're part of us, part of the family." And then Brewster with his gyroid collection and stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot of really great lore in City Folk that I don't think they've quite hit as well since. hmm But like all games, I guess it ended for both of us. Do you kind of remember how it ended?
Yeah, I was kind of playing City Folk. Like I'd play a character and I'd kind of then start an island over. I was really into restarting City Folk and got into like keeping track of the maps that could generate, and started making lists of fish and bugs I could catch and when I could catch them. And so I think I had restarted enough and had caught enough that I eventually New Leaf hype started. In Japan at least, because we didn't get it in the United States for 6 months later or something.
9, I think.
9
It
months
was a
later.
long wait. Yeah.
And before it even released in Japan, people were excited about it. I was ordering like big, huge Japanese guidebooks and really getting into the online community. So, though I was
Tumblr days.
Yeah, exactly. Though I was still playing City Folk, I wasn't really playing a certain character or a certain town through and through. So it was an easy drop off for me because I wasn't invested at all. And then then got to watch Lynn and Co play New Leaf.
I love them. I follow them on Instagram. I've never gotten a response for them to be on the show.
Yeah.
Because I would love to have them on
It
to
would
talk
be
Animal
incredible.
Crossing. Yeah. Both of us talking to them, that'd be so great.
Yeah, so I kind of stopped City Folk because of New Leaf. Though there was a pretty big gap between those two, wasn't there?
Yeah. I think it was a pretty big gap. I want to say it was 4 years.
Okay,
Yeah, 2008 to 2000. Well, technically 5 for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a gap for sure. I'd say the biggest thing that happened for me with this game was that it was an on again, off again thing for me, just because it was once again home console.
Yeah.
And there were big parts of the year where I couldn't play, So I don't know. I've always loved the home console iterations more than the handheld ones, mostly for little technical reasons. Like they run better, they look a little bit better to me, and I like that, right? With Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And so the difficulty I had with City Folk was like I'd be gone in Mexico during the summer or the winter, and then I'd miss a huge part of the game. And so then, it kind of takes you out of that groove. You start to lose your momentum. And so I'd drop off for little bits and then come back for a good portion of the year, and still have fun with it. But it became an on again, off again thing. But I'd say I started being more consistent with that game kind of later in its lifespan. My friend, he was a big Animal Crossing fan, and he got really into just like collecting everything, buying out the shops and all that. And then I was like, oh, I guess that is something I can work toward in this game. And so that got me like really into buying all the items, collecting as much as possible. And I became a lot more of a completionist with City Folk. Definitely never completed it or anything, but I did feel like reinvigorated with the game and would play as much as possible. But over time, I think the same thing that got you got me, where I was like, I want the next Animal Crossing game. I'm doing a bit of the same thing every day with like collecting and stuff, going to all the shops, buying them out, and trying to get all the items. And I was like, I could do more in a game, you know? And
Yeah.
so the New Leaf hype started happening, and then my focus just shifted. I was like all about New Leaf. I wanted to know as much as possible about the game, watch everybody who had it early from Japan, and yeah, so that's where it shifted for me. So I dropped off just because I was hyped for the next game.
Yeah.
Which is also a great reason.
It is
to
a great
drop off.
reason.
Awesome. So I guess this gets us to New Leaf, right? Huge game for everybody. This one felt like, all right, there's a community around this series. This felt like the most connected one for me, and I'm sure you as well, where I was like actively making friends online through Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So tell me about your times with New Leaf.
I mean, just like we said, it started even before the game came out, which was so much fun. And it had that huge online community, which I was a big part of. And I played New Leaf the longest I'd have ever played an Animal Crossing game. I played my town of January, which was the only town I ever played on New Leaf. And I still have it on my Pop-Tart 3DS.
Oh, I'm so jealous you have that.
January still exists. I just kind of finished January. It was one of those towns that I'm just one of those weird people that liked that villagers would come crashing in wherever they wanted to. And I had to rework it. So January did get reworked a lot, which was nice. But kind of towards the end of me playing New Leaf, I wasn't logging in as much. So villagers weren't moving out because they don't move out they think about moving out on their own, but they won't move out if you're not playing. So you won't like log back in and just have brand new villagers. So January wasn't progressing anymore, which made it feel nice and finished, and I was happy with the layout, and I was happy with how it looked and my paths I had made and my memories I had made, and just kind of stopped. But it was a solid 2 years of play before it started to dwindle. It was good though. I mean, I still think about it fondly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think New Leaf I played every day for 2 years before starting to slow down on it as well. So I got a great amount of time with it. Definitely did a lot. And then I'd play, here and there for the next year or two until that big Welcome Amiibo update came out. And then I was like back on the daily, So for me, I just loved it. It was back to being able to play anywhere, no matter what. Didn't have to wait. And then just like the updates that New Leaf got were so good for the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like this one introduced the taller villager bodies, so all of a sudden we have all of this new clothing
and
that
pants.
We can collect.
Yeah.
Yes, pants was a huge deal for me.
It was huge.
Huge deal. So being able to change pants was just like, yes, this is incredible. But yeah, so many things updated just based on our character proportions and dimensions, and then all the online activities too, like the online mini games, the minigame island, and being able to easily go and trade with people and sell turnips, and it was really built for online and really made it a great experience,
Man, and then the update.
Yeah, and then the update. And I'd say at that point, after the update or so, I did feel like my town was basically done
Yeah.
after a while. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, cool. I think I'm good. I think I'm good with like where I am in this game and stuff. And then I did like go back to the game just before New Horizons came out, but
Yeah.
I left it in a state where I was like, all right, this place is good. I'm ready to leave it here. This is my current villager's little paradise for them,
Yeah.
So I did feel like I finished my New Leaf town, and could easily just say goodbye to it.
Yeah. I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I could. You could always go back to any of the games and try to collect everything, but where I left my
Yeah.
New Leaf, I was like, I mean, museum's done, everything's paid off. I've maxed all my town's public works projects. Everybody's happy. I've done the decorating I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
My rooms are as is, So, yeah, I just haven't felt too much of a need. I think if I went back to New Leaf, I mean, I'll always keep that original Haken now that I'm a wise old man who decided deleting any Animal Crossing first experience is not something I want to do ever again. I have like 2 other copies of the game that I can go in and delete and restart,
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because man, I love that game is tied to the cartridge.
Yeah, that's
instead
really
of
nice.
Yeah, so yeah, my original town in New Leaf remains. It feels done. And then kind of the same thing between like City Folk and New Leaf. Like I just got hit with that New Horizons hype, and I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna play New Horizons now. That's it." Mm-hmm.
It took a while for New Horizons hype to get here, but it was good once it got here.
Yeah. Yes, it is so good. I'm glad it's here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that gets us to New Horizons
Mm-hmm.
and where we are with that game.
Oof. It's been a rough ride sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes there are some things that just maybe you dropped off from the game here and there, didn't quite feel it like you did before.
Yeah.
So I guess like where are you with New Horizons right now?
Well,
Are you playing? Are you checking in?
I have not played, probably since February or January.
Wow.
It's been a long time. I, as you guys know, finished Keel Hall and felt very good about Keel Hall being complete and was ready to start over with Bergamot. I'm still excited about Bergamot and would like to play it one day. But, life is a fire tornado on a turbulent ocean. I've got a lot of responsibility at work, especially towards the end of the school year, and got caught up in all that. And we haven't had an update in a while for Animal Crossing, so that hasn't helped either. And I've been pirating like a loon. So I just have not been in an Animal Crossing mood lately, but I feel it coming. And I'm excited not in June, but in July to have free time to hopefully get Bergamot moving for the fall.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that's a quick turnaround going from like when the game came out to feeling like you finished Keel Hall pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Though I feel like it was kind of like the New Leaf cycle. It was about 2 years, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So
which is a great amount of time to get out of the game.
Yeah, and if I look at hours played in New Leaf for 2 years versus New Horizons for 2 years, New Horizons and Keelhaul definitely got way more playtime, which makes sense because there's more to do outside with decorating and stuff. But it had run its course for me. I would log in and walk around and be like, oh, I don't want to change anything. And then log right back out. And that's when I kind of realized it was time to keep going, to move on.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. Especially like in the first year of New Horizons, I'd far surpassed my New Leaf hours.
Yeah.
With the game. Like this game, I can't stress enough like how much more playable New Horizons is. Like there's a lot of aspects to it that I think, I mean, if you're kind of pessimistic, like one friend I know, he's like, oh yeah, but that's like all artificial length of time, like crafting stuff to make it and everything. But my argument toward that is like, what about the artificial time of like waiting for the next day before there's new items in the shop so you can buy those, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like crafting itself it turned players into a more active participant in item collection and decorating than it has ever been. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of New Horizons that is far more of a game than I'd say Animal Crossing has been up until now. But that said, I will say that I think some of the end game pacing is like it's a steep cliff that drops you off, you know? Like if you have no interest in really decorating your home and, you know, trying to get all the villagers that you want and decorating your island, is like the what there is for you is going to disappear pretty quickly, because like I'd say the strongest portions of the game happened kind of in those first months, you know, when we were all just like barely paying off our house, barely getting all the villagers, barely building up all the town, and you know, like there was so much to build, there was so much progression, and then once you're done and you get like the terraforming, yeah, that's a huge thing that really changes up what you can do with your island. But after that, it's like a real steep drop off into the land of like, the fun is really up to you.
Yes.
Like what you get out of the game is completely up to the player. And their interest in these activities is gonna get them as far as it'll get them. And after that, like, you're kind of just done. Like you can just stop, you know?
And the holidays aren't really getting many updates either. So once you've played them once or twice, that's it.
Yeah, and that's the other difficulty. Like, yeah, the year will kind of like keep you going, and you know, you'll log in and be like, oh, cool, time to get these new bugs and fish and diving creatures that I haven't gotten yet.
The beginning
you know, like,
of the month was amazing. Every single month the first year.
Yeah, and so I think that's like the biggest thing that I feel can be addressed in future Animal Crossing games. Like, add more bugs, add more fish, add more things, like change up the updates in a way that's like keeps people enjoying the activities, the other activities that there are. You know, because right now I think there's like an endless amount of content that you can get from decorating, but all the other activities kind of suffer in that way. Where is there really a point to catch any more fish and bugs if you've already gotten the 5,000 fish and bug badge and donated everything? Not unless you want to make more models, which really only go toward that decoration aspect, you know?
It'd be really interesting if they added like migration patterns or something into the bugs and fish. So like the cicadas, for example, that come out of the ground every 7 years. But like maybe it could be certain cicadas can be caught on even number years and certain ones can be caught on odd number years, just to kind of stretch them out a little bit more. I don't know. I love the bug and fish, so I'd love to see more of them, but I can totally understand where eventually the game just has too many things to catch. I don't know.
Yeah, and how does the team handle like expanding the museum every single time?
Yes, exactly. The museum is a beast.
And maybe it just comes down to like, oh, this year this is the exhibit, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that
Like
would,
same amount of
traveling
space.
exhibits.
Yes, exactly. Have a
Oh,
little. There's opportunities there.
exhibit
I think there's a way they can
highlights.
make it work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just what New Horizons runs into, just the steep drop off for a lot of people who aren't super interested in the decoration
Yeah.
aspect. But I mean, other than that, like I think even the parts that we got with like the town building, earning up all the shops, getting all the new villagers and stuff, like I think that's stronger than it's ever been
Mm-hmm.
in an Animal Crossing game. I think all those experiences were really great, and I just want to see that expanded upon on the next one.
Yeah.
hmm Just keep throwing me into a dump that
I
needs
love
to
it.
be built up and turned into something amazing,
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
hmm Even if they like, and I recognize that a lot of this is really like the hardware limitations that Nintendo faces with the Switch and making this game, because I was betting money before this game came out that we'd be able to expand our island eventually, you know? Because even that would be like, okay, if we could expand our island, what does that mean? Oh, maybe more shops can open up on the island. Maybe more villagers can move into the island, you know? Like, I feel like that on its own, like, expands what you're able to do on your place and kind of just keeps the game moving.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we could just expand our next place, and all of a sudden that means we can get more shops on there. Maybe there's like Nooks Crannies Junior, you know, like a little quick Nook stop for this little side of town.
Yeah.
That, you know, just so they have a place to shop for what they need, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be great if we got an iteration of the game that really lets us just keep expanding our world in ways that we haven't been able to, because I think that would keep players going for so much longer.
Absolutely.
Just knowing that you can keep going, making a bigger and better town.
Oh, gosh, I'm just excited to see where it goes next. It's gonna be awesome.
We're getting our own planets next, right here.
That's what it is.
Animal Crossing planet. That's the world.
Animal Crossing planet. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So I guess I should say, for me, New Horizons, I dropped off not because I'm not interested in decorating and stuff, because I do really still like that aspect of the game. But I'd say I've been playing less, mostly because I've just been playing other games lately. Because I'm like writing for Patch and that sort of thing, I do have to continuously keep some indies going on my list, you know? So yeah, I'm exploring other games, which has been nice. My backlog has grown so much in the 2 years I spent on Animal Crossing. So I'm like, oh, look at all this money I spent on games that I didn't play enough. So I'm just trying to get my money's worth on the stuff I have bought.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that's another like really kind of natural reason to stop playing a game you've been playing a while, is that new things are coming out and it's time to spend, you know, your hard-earned free time on other things too.
Yeah, so I know Animal Crossing's always there waiting for me, and I can log in whenever I like, because I keep remembering some of the stuff that I haven't done. Like, I really want to go in and redecorate some of my villagers' places. There's a bunch of homes on my island that are mostly empty that I've always wanted to decorate too. So there's plenty for me to go back to and enjoy.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm afraid right now of getting too into it, falling into my habits of like not getting through some of the other games I wanted to play too. So
no, but
there will be a point when I go back to it and really like go hard on the rest of my island and stuff.
And that's the magic of Animal Crossing, though. You can go back to it whenever you want. It's the best.
Yeah. And just talking about it right now gets me excited about it too. So, yeah,
There you go.
there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and end our show with Haken's Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every single week we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and read their answers out loud here on the show for you. This week's question was, when do you feel your New Horizons island is done or complete? So kind of ties into the topic we had today, just to see how people felt, if they were done, if they felt like moving on to other places. But
Mm-hmm.
how do you get to that point? Like when are you done? When are you ever? So maybe we'll go you then me on
Okay.
these.
So the first answer is from HH, who says, haha, never. There is always a set of weeds to pick up and a corner to redecorate. I appreciate a good season change to spark my creativity and a new redesign. I totally agree. Those season changes are fun to like move around your little items, get out some pumpkins or get out some fish flags, whatever you need to make your town feel like it's ready to welcome the new season in.
I love the new season. See,
Mm-hmm.
that to me is like the biggest thing they could play with to keep people coming back.
Yes.
All right, the next answer is from Laura Facepalmer. Love the name. They said, when I first started my island, July 2020, I saw all these YouTubers posting, this is what 500 hours on Animal Crossing New Horizons looks like. So it was like, huh? All I need is 500 hours to complete my island? Better hurry up then. Cut to more than 2,000 hours of gameplay and an ever-changing island that always has a new nook or cranny to fill. So my answer is another 500 hours?
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I don't know how people can accomplish those things in 500 hours, honestly. It doesn't seem like enough time.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Loose Harriet F says, honestly, is never a valid answer. My first island definitely wasn't done when I restarted, but I chose to reset because I felt stagnant and it was just my islanders that I really cared about. I had so many buildings I wanted to move, so much terraforming, and I just ended up deciding to restart because moving 13 buildings seemed annoying. Now, I also wouldn't say my new island is done. I tend to be pretty busy between working and competitive cheer trainings, so I just slowly chip away. For me, it'll be done when I lose interest or feel like I want to change lots of things that is hard to do when restarting. I remember when you, Chewy, were having to move like every single building too. Didn't you have
Hmm.
like a 3-week plan or something like that?
I had fun with it, honestly. Like just planning out all the buildings I had to move, where on the beach I had to place them. It's something, and there's something a little satisfying of just like mindlessly tearing down all of your work,
Yeah. I can
So
understand that would be frustrating too, though. I can see
yeah,
both
it can
sides.
get there. So definitely have something to listen to and enjoy in the background
Yeah.
while you do that.
Yeah.
But that said, the stress of putting it all back together is also very difficult
Oh
to deal with.
no.
So it can be hard.
Or just restart. That works too.
Yeah. All right, so the next answer is from Tumeg, and Tumeg said, I can walk away from it once I put down all my custom paths. I don't know if it's really finished per se, but it's such a big accomplishment that I usually need to take a break and step away after I've spent hours and hours doing tedious pathways. My town feels way more put together and final. Yeah, there's just something about like getting those paths down and then lining them just perfectly with like
Yeah.
your bushes and fences. Like it feels like, oh, this is so intentional and where I want people to go around
Mm-hmm.
the island, that it feels like, yeah, you're done. You've done the guide work for the town,
Yeah.
And as long as, you're happy with all the sights that people see along those paths, then yeah, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. And Meg is right that it can be super tedious on a path laying day.
So hard.
Yeah, that's another day where you just need something on in the background. But
yeah, the day they add custom sounds to the custom paths is the day that I commit to the custom paths.
Man,
because they look so good. The looks are there.
Yeah,
the looks are 100% there. But just I want to hear my footsteps.
I went auto path before that.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's there. Like, they have the sounds for these things. They exist. Like, just let me attribute the dirt path sound to this dirt custom path.
Yeah. We got so close to getting it in Happy Home Paradise, too. Like, there was custom sounds and atmosphere and stuff, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Next game.
Yeah, next game. When we're on the moon. Lido Yeager says, one of the great parts about New Horizons to me is that there will always be another project, something to improve, something to tweak, etc. The next Animal Crossing will come out and New Horizons will still have possibilities. I mean, it's true. It's true. You can always change something or bulldoze a whole section and try again. You just have so much power that you can change what you want.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do at any given time. Summon Sloth said, my island will be complete when I have every villager photo and have the maximum number of human houses, 8, updated and decorated with purpose, but not really. I don't think of my island as a thing to finish. I intend to simply keep playing and adjusting my island until I feel the need to stop. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's like, how we should look at it a lot of the time. Like, yeah, there should be some stuff that you can always mess with in the place.
It's a living organism.
Yeah.
Peaceful Floating Cloud says, I've not finished an island yet, but I felt finished with my last island as I grew tired of it. For my new island, I'll probably feel it's complete when I finish the museum collection and paid off all my house loans, or when I've achieved the goals I've set to myself and can't come up with anything more to do. My island will be finished when I feel the game is finished. I think this is a great way to put it. Like, your island is finished when you say so, and it doesn't matter which goal you complete, but it's your goal, and you're allowed to play it how you want. That's Animal Crossing.
Definitely. Our last answer is from Sasha505, and they said, my island will be complete once I've decorated every part of it, donated everything to the museum, and once I've gotten all the animal pictures of the villagers on my island. The first one is, surprisingly enough, the hardest one for me. I do love decorating, but whenever I play, I always fall into the trap of the daily routine. And once I'm done with that, I'm not in the mood to decorate anymore. Decorating is something that I prefer to do in vacations or weekends.
It does take more time. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I can relate to this too, because whenever I log in, I start to naturally fall into my little dailies in the game. And maybe that's the habit I've been trying to get over, because I don't feel like I need to focus so much on those parts of the game anymore. Like, when I go back, I'm most excited about decorating and stuff, but I think that the thought of not doing the dailies kind of keeps me from it, and I'm like, oh, I gotta do that, and then by the time I'm done with them, I'm like, man, I've been playing for a while. My stamina is gone,
Yeah.
So I think I just need to be more in the habit of I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna decorate this place or clean up this little section and change it up,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I understand those feelings, and I'll work on getting over them. I'll come back and tell you how it goes.
Yeah, in your own time. No worries.
Yeah, we got time. We got time. There's always next year, as Sergio likes to say.
Yeah.
All right, for any patrons listening, next week's question is going to be a real fun one. Who do you want as your adoptive father in Animal Crossing?
Like Timmy and Tommy has an adoptive father.
Yeah, Tom Nook.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be your Animal Crossing father? Father's Day is coming up, so let us know. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. If you're sad to see us go, join us over on Discord. You can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Nina and me. Want to support Haken in a bigger way and tell us your answers in the Haken Islander Corner? Head over to patreon.com/ChuyPlays. $1 goes a long way to making this show even better and includes tons of goodies for you to enjoy. Get a special role on Discord, read a monthly newsletter, and get many other great rewards. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. If you're listening on YouTube, when do you feel your New Horizons Island is done or complete? Reviews really help the show get discovered by more people. Please leave a review on your platform of choice and let us know how we're doing. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chuy, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Gyroids forever!